say,
Yeah.
maybe today's the day.
Maybe today is the day, my friend, and we'll see it go down. How I like to think about it is like this. You know, every single team, right at the beginning of the split, hopped on a struggle bus, right? And slowly, you know, as weeks have gone on, some of them have gone off, right? Carmine took about 4 weeks to get off, right? Solary
True.
have both hopped on and off again and again. Game Ward kind of has a bus pass where they decide when to hop on. Oplon's been on at the front of the bus, where to be like, hey, is this my stop? And the stop hasn't come on yet.
That's right. They pretty much own the bus at this point. And the interesting
They're the
thing,
driver.
yeah, you could say that. So the thing that's interesting too for Solary, this is as much as, of course, we're talking about how draft-wise this makes sense from Oplon, it's good. The struggles I've seen from this team is it feels like, especially in team fights, they feel less sure of what they should be doing. And because of that, they end up struggling in where there are drafts, where there are game states that they can come out on top in. So what that means is that this game, especially now, you do have this new player in Zekor, who we highlighted, has done pretty well in other ERLs and other parts of Europe here in the Tier 2 scene. Maybe as time goes on, they can start to get that coordination down here, and maybe we start to see that today. And it's important, too, because Solary, like Sierra highlighted on the desk before we came to us, Solary are tied for 6th place at the moment, tied for that last playoff spot with Game Ward, and there are other teams who are trying to fight for that spot. So losing to Oplon here, even though the chances aren't very high, would be brutal.
Absolutely detrimental to everything that they possibly want to do here at V-Town. Considering every single team has about 6 games left, right? At max, we are in week number 7, like you mentioned previously, and with 2 more weeks to go, a regular season play before playoffs, right? It's top 6 spots, and there are 4 different teams fighting for that top 6, and that cutoff becomes increasingly farther away as you lose more and more games. And Solary had a bit of a rough week last week, but actually looking to change it around. His play lands at a Z-core. It doesn't actually get the stun off either because it's still back to level 2.
Oh, yeah.
There's a jump up as well. Absolute does not get stopped in the middle of the Abyssal Dive. Joko not here in time. So Oplon get away with just by the skin of their teeth.
So a couple things here. What we saw Solary's done is split the map here towards his bottom side of the map. Joko, of course, with the help of his bot lane, go for that invade and steal Brunez's entire bot side. This Hecarim is very far behind now, unless he can try and make something happen.
The immediate flash comes out by Scarlet, I would say a little preemptive, but definitely needed as he makes sure to stay safe as Peng's taking a ton of damage. And look at that beatdown. You were seeing getting pushed in. 1 Q and suddenly Peng can do nothing but watch.
Yeah, at least he will get an opportunity to go ahead and recall here, but the play is still tough because Flash is something, but you're hoping for more if you're Brunez. He's running to this top side, and you're seeing Joko go for the 3 buff here. Takes his whole bot side, moves to his red, and now he's going to go for the fight. Level 3 Volley Bear beats a level 3 Hecarim by a country mile, and you can see it. Peng has already TP'd back. The laners are coming through. Oplon know how important it is for Brunez to be able to snag this buff.
It is double buff versus single buff, and he
didn't
manages to
get
take
it.
that away.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
double
a
stun.
big scatter of the week. And Kiel will get the first blood. Dark almost has no mana at all. Dash is down 2. He might be in trouble looking to get over the wall and flashes.
Hello.
But look at that. There is Steel back.
Brutal start here for Oplon, and again, well played from Solary, understanding that, hey, Brunez's only way back into this game is if he tries to snag some of this topside jungle. He actually loses out on the smite fight as well. Joko will take this blue buff, and at this point, it's just so easy. We know Scarlet's going to be able to get here first because he's in control of this lane state, and from that stun into yet another stun, it's easy for Solary to take them out.
I think Easy was understatement considering how they just
True.
were very prepared for this, right? They knew
Yeah.
this was coming on, especially considering Darlik actually did ward that very early on, so they could possibly surmise that. Considering he had used no mana, he definitely didn't start off with the buff either, so they knew early vision there, and considering Brunez looking to return him back and where he was at with the buffs, this is very well tracked by Solary, who now even having Darlik getting the push into against his Gnar, weren't able to get him here in time, and considering how much damage he was taking. Oplon falling farther behind. We mentioned this would happen too because Solary looking to shut down more and more of the win cons.
Yeah, I think the only thing really going for Brunez at the moment here is it's taken, this whole engagement has taken so long that his camps have actually gone for the respawn, meaning now he has camps again on his side of the map, while Joko actually hasn't cleared some of his level 1 camps as a result. So Brunez, just by virtue of that, should be actually in a decent spot here. As you can see, he's only a little bit behind in farm and still farming as we speak. So he's at least is going to be able to get to that level 6 mark in a pretty decent situation.
Yeah.
And if we look bottom 2, you see Zcor still very firmly in control there with Absolute. You have that CS lead coming through. And I think level 6 is a big thing to play for here if you are Oplon. As soon as Brunes has that onslaught of shadows, they will have their openings. It's just going to be about whether or not they are able to find some of these dives, some of these plays, because at the moment, when it comes to things like Dragon number 1, it's not fair.
Yeah, because one thing you also got to be watch out for as well as Brunes goes in, right? Who's going to manage to go in with him? Because if Tom Kench gets stopped, gets CC down, then suddenly you're looking at a really bad time as immediately Keo not able to land the big Gnar at the wall. Unfortunate, but we do see him prioritizing going for that hull breaker first. What a disgusting item.
I mean, yeah, it's still good. They're not going to nerf it till 12-5, so you might as well just keep it going.
They've
here.
got 2 patches, man, to just run with it.
Yeah, I mean, Darlik's probably going to go build it as well.
Oh,
so
yeah.
at least it's even in that regard, I suppose. Either way, so far, first Dragon, as we expected, is going to go to Solary. Now, Brunes, level 5. A decent spot in terms of farm, is actually trying to make a potential play here onto Scarlet mid, who doesn't have the flash up yet, but it actually looks like he's just setting up vision, trying to get an idea on these camps timers, and he actually will be able to walk away with the Gromp. Joko, other side of the map, isn't going to be able to do anything.
For now, though, like you were saying, Brunes just managed to catch up a little bit in farm, right? Although he is still a fair bit behind, but XP-wise, not doing too bad as he manages to steal away the Gromp from Joko. Yeah. But he is bot side though, so it does make sense. He's looking for a lane gank, in fact. And manages to sneak his way into the bush looking to recall, but like he will not. They have no vision on the beatdown.
No, not at all. We'll see. The last gank did not work.
Ooh, he steps out of vision. He just made it to 6. He got a little bit too overzealous.
Oh, that's not good. Yeah, now they know. Now they're just going to play safe. There's no option anymore. And in this time, too, this is the thing with Volibear. You are in somewhat of a timer. You have a lot of dive potential in CC with this team you're playing for, but your effectiveness, especially ahead of someone like the Hecarim, is starting to diminish, and we're already seeing it. Once level 6 comes through, watch Brunes, watch Oplon's jungler. We talk about how he's, and even on this O12 team, he's been managing to find early plays, managing to find openings to get some leads for his laners here, and it's going to be very important once he gets that ult.
Absolutely crucial. Just force them down, as I believe Joko has definitely smelled this roam coming through over the Rift Herald as he manages to make it there first. No buffs on him either, as Brunes does have the red buff on his side, but considering Keo and him move over first, like you said, a Steelback and asset there, there's more people to the party. This might be a full fight.
No, I think it's going to end up just going away here, as we like to call it, front row seats for Oplon.
Yep.
As the Herald ends up balling. They don't lose much for this, though, because Zcor managed to get the lane push, and actually, because Scarlet TP'd mid and Azza moved up for the Herald, a good amount of gold and XP lost in the bottom lane. So that ends up being not so bad for Oplon now, especially with Zcor moving up to catch this top wave as well. This 80 carry here for Oplon, the new player that we've been talking about, is in a pretty decent spot to be able to have an impact on this game. Not like last week, where he was the focus of a lot of jungle attention.
Not allowed to play the game?
Yeah, we'll say that. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, Zcor definitely had a really tough time considering both games on the Aphelios, right? He was decently immobile, but time and time again, like you were mentioning, he was dove upon, he was denied CS, he was denied the lane, and his support couldn't save him at any which way opportunity. But I do like the change up with the Tom Kench, which I believe we've seen him play this lane before, but there's something new. A pick we haven't necessarily seen a ton of the LFL either, as falling on a priority since lethality isn't a thing, but lethal tempo still quite good. So I do with the change up at least. Brunes goes back to just farming a jungle, still hasn't managed to find an opportunity to go anywhere in lane, sadly.
No, but the opportunity is certainly going to show themselves very soon.
Yeah.
Just because now, like, he is level 6, he's still farming. You do want to be doing that as the Hecarim. It's not as big a deal here as now with this interesting set of rotations. Brunes is here to cover a potential play. All 5 members of Solary are on the bottom side of the map. Oplon know this. Zcor's on his way here as well. A fight could very well break out.
Yeah, as we see, Pang now is roaming down as well. He left it to take the safe route right past Wolf just to make sure he doesn't get caught out, but they spotted on vision. So all of Solary will move away. They don't want a full 5v5 at this point, considering Mega Gnar is not up. And we're fighting at an unfortunate disadvantage. They have all the cooldowns and flashes, but taking a fight this early could ultimately lead into a hole, considering nothing would be up either in time.
Things are slowing back down since that play earlier on in the top lane around 4 minutes, and that honestly benefits Oplon quite a bit. When you just think about how much time they just want to slow things down, keep people like Darlic and Brunes on the farm angle, not have to worry so much about fighting, defending laners. So now, you got to imagine something will come up soon. Brunes is going to be able to have something, but he could be waiting for that turbo chem tank as well.
Yeah.
And Hekrams have been building so much. Well, once again, I should say, as that was very, very popular last year. And now, because of that result, Oplon can actually play for Dragon if they want to. You can see the vision they have on this bottom side of the map. Now they do actually are setting up a bit of a brush play, it looks like.
This is interesting. Right, just waiting for Scarlet to roam down. But all the pings are there. They know where they're chilling. So it will not be caught out. The chains also will not land either.
No scatter the Wii?
Scarlet already lands a scatter onto Peng. It lands the E, but will not take it through, considering he's decently weak, only level 9 and no first item either. So they'll have to dissipate after that.
Right, but what this does is it allows a lot of time for Brunes to get here. When I was talking about vision setup and everything for the Dragon, he was still on the top side of the map.
Yeah.
So taking control of that area, making Solary think twice, means you are in a good spot to be able to try and take the Dragon. But instead, they try to make the play onto Aza unsuccessfully, meaning they may just let this Dragon go, but it's... Oh, wait a minute, they're trying to make a bait onto Peng, actually.
Okay, they do land a scatter. A lot of CC goes into the Shroud. So stay alive, about half his health chunked out. But at least with this, they get mid-prio off this too. But like you were saying, a lot of big team fight ultimates now just completely gone.
Yeah.
And they can just crash this wave in and make sure Peng doesn't move in time for Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, there's an opportunity for a plate to be made here. No Solar Flare is a big deal. The question is, will they do it? Chain of Corruption is not available. A lot here not available, but oh, they're too late.
A little bit too. So Joko is stuck in the pit, but they don't necessarily make a play on him either. I'm really surprised.
He still has R, so.
Yeah, like you're saying, and yep, he will have to use it. I'm sure he's hoping for an opportunity to move out,
wow.
But a little bit too dangerous and has to burn the ultimate, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, honestly, you walk away with all your lives, you don't have to use any summoner spells, and you get the second dragon here. Being the dragon stack, oh my god, is exactly what you want.
Ooh, burn, maybe. Oh,
he lives.
fine.
Corrupting pot, burn doesn't matter.
With 15 health, how about that? I really thought he would have made like another play, or like Scarlet might have gone into this, because if we decided to actually kill him earlier, or he's got an auto off too, that would have been a free solo kill, but unfortunate.
Yeah, the delay was interesting. Zcor doesn't even use the flash, or rather the cleanse. He knows that he's basically done, but then once he gets the opportunity, he realizes, oh wait, I guess I can flash out of here. Yeah. And he gets to hold on to his life, which is a big deal. And again, Scarlet blows the flash, doesn't secure the kill. This Syndra, again, is very vulnerable. We talk about vulnerability with the composition that Oplon have. You have a lot of dive, a lot of backline access here. We need to see them use it, actually try and make some of these plays. So far, not a single onslaught of shadows come through from Brunes. Not a single aggressive play has really been made so far. They have just been slowly scaling up, which I think is valid for what they want to do, but we're getting to a point where they probably want to take advantage of some of the item spikes they've reached. You see that Hull Breaker for Darlic, you see the Turbo Chem Tank for Brunes, and Zcor, AD carry, has that Kraken Slayer, is in a really strong state at the moment here, so they have the ability to fight. They're just not doing it.
And especially considering, like you're talking about the Hullbreaker, right? We've seen how Graves can be an absolute menace on it too, but going back to last week, Solary with a Gnar pick, we were expecting them to ban this potentially, but
okay.
Hold my thoughts to land the Nakam Joko.
There we go.
Is feared up, cannot ult out. There we go, that's jungler gone, but might be able to get one more, at least Scarlet with no flash. Try to get absolute and get the Jada 1-for-1 support for jungler. Might not be enough as Aza has run away. Look at Peng. Right on a steal back, might get the kill. The stun not landing, but alongside the Q force of the flash. On a steal back, and all got run away. Steal back wants one more. Oh, look at that, the outplay button as Kyo's not here as well. Right onto Zcor with the slow. It's a double kill for Scarlet.
Oh, not respecting the damage from that unleashed power. Peng ends up getting taken out, and that's the big turning point here, allowing Solary to go ahead and win this fight. Finally, we see Oplon pull the trigger, but it doesn't end up playing out the way they wanted to, and more gold still goes in favor of Solary. Yeah. They now find themselves up 2,000 gold, and you can see that even though they have backline access, it is a little tough to play into this composition, but I like it. You see the pink ward being cleared. Absolute knows he can go in with this Abyssal Dive and try to set things up, and it's great up until Well, Aza ends up getting a lot of damage in and ends up getting the resets. Once he gets excited from killing Absolute, there isn't much else he can do here. The thing is, too, with Peng TPing in, he TP'd very late and wasn't able to actually have an impact on this fight. Yeah, he got a couple 5-point strikes or whatever, but like really, it didn't end up doing anything, and before he could use that R2 to get out, he gets taken down.
Yeah, unfortunately, also too, because I find that actually Steelback actually landed the stun right as he went into, so
yeah,
delayed that combo just a little bit, which, man, Steelback is so good at this game, bro.
Yeah, Steelback is good.
Such a phenomenal support player, and we've been praising him and Joko's just ability to link up, and we've seen that already throughout this entire game, because honestly, Leona, he's been insanely smurfed. This guy's the big man for the team, the captain, as I believe the coach John put it. So, out of game, when the coaches can't be in their ears, he's the person leading the calls, he's the person driving the narrative of the gameplay forward for the Solary team, who looked a little bit rough last week, but looking in top form this week.
So far, so good for Team Solary. Now, Oplon have to try and make a play here for this dragon. They don't want to. You don't want Solary to get to Soul Point at this point, because you already see how hard it is for Oplon to get into some of these objective fights and pull the trigger, more so them than their team composition, because we saw it in that last fight. They have a lot of all-in, and they are able to execute it pretty decently. It's just about finding these opportunities and not hesitating, because you're going to end up falling behind, continuing to fall behind, rather. As Solary are in such a strong position now. You're seeing Scarlet, 3-0-2, has that Medjai's starting to stack up, some of that extra AP coming in there, and it's so hard because that Scatter of the Week is such a great disengage tool to make it a little harder for Oplon to be able to all-in Solary and their mid laner. Still, though, they have to try something. This dragon is going to be probably a difference maker, because Soul Point might spell doom for Oplon.
Indeed, my friend, that's one thing they don't want to be locked in, right? Like you're mentioning, a forced fight around a cloud. So although not necessarily the most impactful of things, but one they might be able to afford to give up, but definitely they don't want to, because as suddenly this game just goes away from them, and all that gold sort of mounting their possibilities of getting back as already 3K gold down. We see Solary though. They want to instead look to just force down mid. They don't care about the dragon, so they'll make a trade.
Right, and this is what happens when you get yourself these early dragon leads. You know you can fight for the next one, and you can use this Herald instead to be able to break open this mid turret. Pretty much guarantee Shelly's going to be able to charge because of the fact that, because Oplon, because of this pathing, they can't walk through the mid lane. They have to walk the safe way through their jungle, out to the border of their base, and then back in here. As now another turret, you can see with the waves syncing up like this, it means Kio's going to be able to take this turret as well, with Aza and Steelback there to make sure Darlic doesn't get any funny ideas. And it's just Solary playing the map very, very well right now.
Yeah, because Darlic is chilling in the bush, right? So perhaps he knows he can defend against this, but as one step too far forward, as a trade will be had, and gets a turret bot side at least, so to get something back. But as you see in the Oplon trend, we don't want this to be the only tower to get in the game, as it does happen far too often, unfortunately.
Usually, Oplon, we worry about them after finding early game leads. To this game, they haven't been able to find a single one. They're down 3K now. We're finally seeing Peng come through with the Rocket Belt. A lot of the extra Magic Pen. It is all about burst for this Akali. But it's tough. We haven't been able to see him do much of anything. He's down 50 CS, of course, with this matchup. You kind of expect to fall behind in a similar way, but because of the kills as well, it leads up to something like 2,000 gold, as we're seeing here. The graphic swaps, and that is a lot. Those Scatter of the Weeks are going to hurt. You can even see the XP difference showing here, as Oplon are kind of running out of options. The all-in potential is still really good from their team composition. They just can't look for these usual upfront, front-to-back scenarios. It's going to be about, okay, someone is out of position, you see them standing in the mid lane, they see Aza, like, look, if he steps up a little too far, we're going to take him out, and that's our position to make a play, take some kind of vision, be able to do something.
Yeah, and I was going to say, too, a lot of that, depends entirely on their vision setup. Considering, as of right now, Keo actually hasn't shown on the map, so they don't know he's ready to push in. So likely they'll just commit Darlic here to be able to push the bot side, not respond to top either. Which Peng is there. Speaking of going
Flash.
in, Brunez versus the Flash for now. The TP will be called Absolute. Also the Flash as well. The change of corruption will land.
Wow.
Takes a bunch of damage, but Kyo's now in with another flash into the wall. Here's the cleanse, and of course with the Devour Absolute. We'll make sure to save his AD carry.
Yeah, there it is. You have Darlic splitting on the bottom as a result there, but nice play there from Solary. Oplon, they try to make something happen, but of course, Azza, who's barely been pressured all game long, manages to just flash to safety and to the waiting arms of his team. So it's tough. Even though they almost get Joko, actually they can get him.
Oh, they actually stops the dive up too, yeah, because Joko's not to run away. I think the damage is done either, but Zekor dies from this, no flash, no cleanse, no nothing. A trade of 1, but consider the jungler is down. Oplon can potentially try to extend this further, but Absolute should be dead, and then lose another tower as Darlic comes in far too late, but they're looking to cut them off, maybe?
Peng is here. He has the perfect execution. There's a lot of damage here on the Sakali. You can see they want it.
Darlic also looks to go in, but Steelback's pretty tanky. Azza looks to run away, but if he gets excited, it's possibly done so.
Oh, that's it.
He goes on to Azza. Maybe it's one more auto. They can't get him. He's not strong enough.
No ults for Scarlet.
They can't burst anybody down. And Scarlet as well, like you mentioned, no ult on him. Very low mana, but this is where Oplon stops. Can't land the scatter, so no trade to be had.
Yeah, there you go. That is really nicely done by Oplon. They managed to punish the fact that Solary pushed a little too far into their side of the jungle. So you end up pincering them, and although Scarlet is definitely here to play a bit of spoiler, stealing camps, being annoying, the damage is done. You do manage to get gold for yourselves, but because of that commitment, you see Kyo is able to continuously split on this bottom side of the map, take a turret, get all this extra gold for himself here. We're still seeing examples of what this draft from Oplon can actually do in these team fights.
Yeah, and I agree with mentioning, it's an opportunity to find a way in, right? Which Nunes is trying to create. Like, he sees Joko step a bit too far, and his ult gets interrupted, so he's immediately in trouble.
You still get the bonus health, which is nice, but it didn't end up mattering just because you walk into all the CC, all this damage, because Zekor is quite strong right now, especially with the on-hit build he ends up going for.
For sure.
So he does end up falling, and even though you trade one in return, you still manage to pick up a few more kills.
And from here, too, considering where they're very awkward position, and as the Steelback and Scarlet have to look to run away, but with Peng on their back tail, like you were mentioning, it's simply a matter of time before he managed to get at least one out of it. But these scatters from Scarlet have been just so clutch, just denying the all-in potential. But considering where they were headed to, all these stops, if they ran without any care in the world, they might have managed to make it out, but I don't think they will as of right now. Oplon find a couple of picks, to make their way back in, but as the next dragon is up in 4 seconds, all the members are here. Look at Peng on the backside.
You just take a look, everybody's got ults ready to go. Peng, of course, good vision from Solary, knowing this Akali could go for the flank angle. Does mean he has to think about where he's going to go here. Here comes 50-50.
Land the shield, pops over the wall as the Gnar is there. There we go. That's sole point for Solary, but the question is, will they continue the fight? Peng can't get in. Kyo finds an angle. Starting to the wall, and there we go. No. Joko goes in, and it's all but over. 3 for nothing, as Peng has to run between his shuriken between his legs.
Oplon tried to force the situation once they lost the dragon, hoping they could get the picks, but they did not respect Kyo's ult. They did not respect the fact that, hey, he could happily hop back in and get the big stun up here onto Team Oplon. And as a result, you lose kills, you lose gold, and you're gonna lose the Baron. As Solary playing this game very well so far, and they're gonna pick up the first Baron at 24 minutes.
Phenomenal stuff for themselves, considering it was only a matter of time before they eventually managed to take this lead from there. And with Soul Point in their hand, a phenomenal fight. You just saw how Solary took a moment's notice to look to go in. Kyo with the fake, by the way. He's like, no, I'm not going to go in. Jump back. Look at that. Double slun into the wall. And it's just so clean.
And it's so hard, too. You look at Peng. He's looking for his angle. He's looking for his way in. He wants Azza. That's what he's looking for. That's what every assassin player wants. They want the 80 carry. Low resistances, low max health. It's the assassin's dream. But what ends up happening is that you can't actually... Oh, that sucks. When you have a Syndra who is guarding the 80 carry, when you have a Leona who's also guarding the 80 carry, it's very difficult for a lone Akali to make something happen here. And when your jungler is forced to use that Onslaught of Shadows away from the team fight, not getting the CC with the fear, not getting this ability to try and remove some of the peel that this Jinx has, Peng is powerless.
Yeah, and I think considering how powerless Peng is at this point, we talk a lot about him being one of the biggest force and drivers for this team once he does have some gold in his pocket. But Now with us, he's so far behind, and a Kali that is unfortunately playing from behind and not able to find a way in is not going to be of much help to anybody else at all, sorry, considering how
No.
squishy she can be. And since the Chemtank build isn't, super prevalent anymore, still quite good, but, not able to necessarily sustain against a ton of the damage, then that means that you do have another 300 gold possibly given over to the opposing team. And I think Solary will take all the gold they can get, considering now they have Baron, and they continue to push the game forward.
Right, and they already have so many towers taken on their side, too. At this point, we're getting really close to inhibitors turrets. And sure, you have Darlik, who's going to be able to pick up this turret and an objective bounty on top of it, a nice little bit of gold for the rest of the team. You're still in a tough spot, because you can see how much cover is required to allow Darlik to do this very thing. Jungle and supporter, they're supporting him. And now that Solary have shown on the map, the recalls are coming through. They know this turret is gone, but they're going to try and do their best to save the next one. The thing is, the wave clear on Oplon isn't that amazing. Even with the damage to the wave you can do as someone like the Graves, if he was there in base, it's short range. So the threat of the all-in is still there. So Oplon have to watch as this inhibitor ends up falling. However, actually, they went for... I think they saw Kyo go for the recall here just to answer this play. I'm surprised they didn't go for anything, but you're at a point where Oplon, you're waiting for mistakes. This is never a nice place to be in when it comes to game state and things like that. But hey, this could be a mistake from Joko. The team is quick to capitalize.
This is interesting, like you're saying, yeah. I mean, he can potentially 1v1 Brunus at that point. He is decently strong, right? And he's a big boy, wants to land the stun, and there we go. It forces everything out of Brunus. Even the ghost is not gone as well. But considering it's a basically low cooldown, so from here, like you mentioned, Oplon have to wait for the slip-ups. They managed to find one previously, but at this point, it's become very, very tough, as it's depending on Darlik to create pressure points, at least on the top side, because he has the Hull Breaker and the Eclipse, so he can force down towers pretty fast, but if Kyo matches him, then even the 4v4, I'm not sure if Oplon do win out on that.
Probably not, even without the split. Like, again, it's about trying to use your CC to get space for Peng. Peng needs to get in this backline and use some of his abilities.
Yeah, like you were saying, there's that mistake. He was on a ward, and there we go. They immediately capitalize on him. The slip-up from Joko felt very, very confident as they don't lose absolute, but they almost did. Peng? The slow lands on him, and there's the blast. He's going to blade. Not going to land the stun, but he's stuck in between. Goes over the wall. The blast code not going to save him either. That's another kill given over to Scarlet.
And there it is. When he's not there, it's so easy for them to punish the Sakali. Take him out of the picture, and there it is. The nice pick Oplon managed to get nullified immediately because you know the big backline threat is gone. They can keep pushing.
Yep, and they're doing exactly that. The Frog taking off the map, and because of all the damage that he does, that's a 24-stack Magi's as well, alongside the Shadow Flame for Scarlet. It is simply a matter of time as Solary end this game.
It's tough. You end up losing 2 inhibs, and it's really awkward how it's top and bot as well. When you think about Dragon Soul coming through, this isn't contestable for Oplon. The only thing you can really say for yourself is, well, it's Cloud Soul. So even though the movement speed is going to be really great for Solary given their comp, you're at least happy it's not something like the Infernal. And Oplon, for their way back into this game, it's going to be picks like what we saw there. But again, it's going to require mistakes from Solary. It's going to be taking something like Joko being a little too far out there and getting caught out for Oplon to be able to do anything in this game, and they have to still do it cleanly. They can't lose people in the process. 1-for-1s are not good enough anymore.
I mean, Joko has stepped up twice and died, so unfortunately, so I think they can definitely choose to hone in on that. But I think after the second mistake, right, he's gonna probably really back a little bit, thinking, okay, maybe I should use my sweepers a bit more often, just to make sure I'm just not always on a ward. So things that should be fine from there, but Oplon, they're looking to just defend the base instead of the threat of Baron is what's on their mind as they set up on top side. But that's a soul taken over for free for Solary, as now Oplon can only do so much. They can just simply watch the game happen to them as the bot wave is pushing into them as well.
Top lane's auto pushing as well. Darlik doing his best to keep the wave as pushed as possible because they know a base defense is coming up soon.
Darlik might be dead here, actually. It's a 1v1 against Sonar, who just lost Mega too, but you can just kite him out of this, and
Brunette says, see ya, buddy.
My man TP's away, bro. I respect it, because he knew he was going to die. If Darlik dies there, then suddenly they lose so much pressure. The rocket not going to land.
Dude, imagine.
Dude, that'd be sick.
It would have been sick, but I mean, here we go. The game could still very well end here and now. You still have 2 inhibitors gone. This middle one is the only one left in Solary. They're just looking to close things out. One good team fight is all it is going to take, and you can see it now. Pang knows he's got to try and find some kind of value in this game so far. So you can see him looking for these flank angles, but props to Solary for setting up vision as well as they have. Just so it's very difficult for Pang to, even if he gets these flank angles, he never gets them unnoticed.
But speaking of which, as of right now, Pang, though, is being tracked like you mentioned the entire time, but top and bot wave are pushing in. Oplon know that to respond to this, and they're getting triple inhib here would be truly the final piece of the puzzle, but with both these inhibs down, waves pushing in, they cannot contest this Baron or risk losing the base. Keo has TP and Scarlet has TP as well, and they will do this on vision. Oplon can simply watch this happen. Be done. Gotta be frank here.
Yes, please.
This game is over. Like, this game is over. Like, it hasn't for a little bit, and this Baron will be the final nail of the coffin. Solary is far too ahead. There we go. They find Brunis. Stopwatch being used by Keo, and now he has the Mega Gnar as well. Look to possibly find one. Oh, nice Devour, but it's not going to be enough. He gets the second. He's now dead. Pang now goes inside the Shroud. But how much longer we stay alive here, buddy? Steelback is dead. Nasola is Darlic. Maybe no. Okay, he gets the outplay, but Scarlet will just outplay him instead. And there we are, GG, Solary with the ace in the game.
It took a little longer considering than we expected given the game state, but there it is. Solary get their 7th win and will very crucially manage to hold on to that ever-coveted 6th place playoff spot.
Indeed, my friend, and I find right from beginning to end, right, we